Hair loss can have a big emotional impact on both men and women. There are some things that you can do, though, to take good care of your hair.
Redondo Beach dermatologist and hair restoration expert, Dr. Sanusi Umar, joins us now. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can't help noticing you're a hair restoration expert, but you're bald.
I get asked that question all the time. Actually, that was what got me interested in the field.
Really?
Yes, because of my own personal experience. I'm a hair transplant expert, but I cannot perform the same on myself.
That would be difficult, wouldn't it?
Besides, I need that to remind me of why I'm doing this anyway.
Right. Before we get to that point, baldness, some people experience hair loss, and we're talking about men or women, but you say there are some things we can do to prevent it.
Exactly. You could lose hair because the hair is breaking up, because you can lose hair from hair breakage, or it may be coming off the roots. And it could also be genetic. There are a number of causes of hair loss, but there are things you can do to minimize the extent of hair loss in you.
Starting with what you eat, right?
Exactly. So for instance, you need to have a balanced diet, a good source of protein, a good source of vitamins, vitamin B, especially in biotin. This, for example, is a leafy spinach. Spinach is a good source of iron, which has been implicated in hair loss. It's also a good source of biotin, which is very important in maintaining good hair. Broccoli also is in that group. If you need protein, a good source of protein, and salmon is particularly good for hair maintenance. It contains the essential oil called omega-3 fatty acids, which you just talked about. But it's also a good thing to have for hair because the omega-3 contributes to the oil coating of the hair, which protects the hair from damage. And taking salmon is a good way to go for that. Now, for patients people that cannot take meat or fish, beans is a very good source of protein as well.
Okay.
Vegetarian process. So you have some vitamins too.
Exactly. So if you, because of dietary restrictions or for some other reason, cannot get your good amount of vitamins from the food you eat, then it's recommended that you take to supplements. For instance, vitamin B12. Here you have biotin, which is a very available, and you can take that by way of pills. Also, in California, because of the sun exposure, and this is something people don't pay much attention to, and we're in summer right now. The ultraviolet rays of the sun.
That can make your hair fall out?
Exactly.
Really?
Yes. What it does, it damages that protective oil coating of the hair. It dries it out, it makes it lose its luster, and eventually it leads to breakage. Wow. Obviously, you know that sunburned hair doesn't look good.
Put a hat on it.
Exactly. This hair, wide brim hat is good. You can take your baseball hats, that's a good way to protect yourself from that.
Dave likes that.
Especially if you're a Dodger fan.
Exactly, if you're a Dodger fan. Another thing is these days we have hair conditioners that have sunscreens in them. And you have hairsprays also that do that. So in the language or parlance of hair growth, we call it hair protective factor. Just as you have sun protective factor, SPF 3, we have HPF 90, for instance. This is HPF 90 hair protective factor. And you can spray this on your hair to protect against the damaging effects of the ultraviolet rays.
Before we move on, Doctor, I know we have a before and after picture that we want to show our viewers, if we can pull that up. So what is this that we're looking at here? This is someone with, looks like a receding hairline, and then the restoration?
Yes, that's a young man that has undergone hair transplant at my clinic in Redondo Beach using the U-graft method. As you can see to your left is a patient that has Norwood 2 level of hair loss, and the other patient has very severe baldness, which usually will not be a good candidate for hair transplants. But using the U-graft method, we're able to use hair from the head and other parts of the body to actually make a realistic transplant in this kind of patient.
And that's a big difference.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. And I see you have Rogaine here. We often hear ads for it. Does it help?
Yes, it does. In a percentage of patients, after doing all this, your genetics sometimes will dictate that you still lose your hair. In that instance, you should first of all look to medical treatment, and Rogaine is the only FDA-approved medication for that, topical FDA-approved medication. There's a pill called Propecia that people take.
Right.
But Rogaine works. It works in probably about 30% of patients. For most patients, it will stem the tide of the hair loss for most patients that take it. And in a small percentage of patients, there will be actual new hair growth in those
good.
patients.
Right.
Interesting.
So you have that for women and
And one for
and
men
one
as
for
well.
men
Dr.
as well.
Umar, thank you so much.
very
We
welcome.
appreciate you coming in. For more